Shalom. So, hopefully everybody can hear me. We are going to be continuing Psalm 119 from Zion. So, like I've explained before, in Hebrew there are these acrostic poems, which is the poem is written, each letter starts with the subsequent, each verse starts with a subsequent letter of the alphabet. So the first one starts with Aleph, second one Bet, third one Gimel, and Psalm 119 is so long because it is an eightfold acrostic, meaning that each eight, the first eight verses start with Aleph in the Hebrew. Next verses start with Bet, and so on and so on and so on through the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. So we end up with 8 times 22, or 176 um, total verses. Okay, and now we are going to uh, which verse I was going to stop at is 80. Okay, so we are going to do 49 through 80. Okay, that's Zion. Let's go ahead and start. Remember the word to your servant upon which you have caused me to hope. Remember your word to your servant, for you have given me hope. Abad. Remember a word to your servant through which you gave me hope. And Rashi says, through which you gave me hope, through Nathan the prophet to your servant. So exactly what he means by that. See what the root is. Zechor davar la'avdecha al asher yachaltani. Interesting. So, Zahor is command form of Zayin Chaf Resh, which means remember, written without a vav, if irregular. Davar, word or thing. Le avdecha, to your servant. Yeah, the word eved, slave or servant. Davar le avdecha. I'm not sure why Rashi's saying that this is the one to Nathan, unless it comes from some sort of assumption that this psalm is written by David. Al Asher Yechaltani. Um, so Al is the preposition of the ayin. Asher is the pronoun relative. Al Asher, not a very common phrase. Um, regarding which, upon which, yeah. Again, all these words are very simple words. The question is how you translate them. This is a poem. Yechaltani. So, so this is from Nahal. Yachal, to wait. Oh, from wait. Yachaltani. Yachal. Yeah. So it is an imperfect. So it would be Yud Het Lamed. This Yachal is used 40 times in the Bible. So Hmm. So they're saying it's in the causative, it's in the ego? Yachaltani. No, it's in the PL. So let's go to our constructor here. Yachal. And they're saying it's in the PL. Alta. This, yeah, it is Yichaltani. I was reading it Yachaltani because I was reading that, and it's actually a chirik there, not a kamas. So Yichaltani. You have so PL is the intensive form. Um, so they're saying the PL followed by Lamed, absolute hope. But it doesn't have Psalm 119 listed here. Has it listed here? Oh, it was earlier also. I mean, it's used several times in this in Psalm 119. So yeah. Um, I initially assumed it was related to Nahal, which um means to inherit. Have caused me to. So it is an intensive form of waiting, which they're translating as. I mean, everybody agrees that the word is. Yeah. And it's used several times in this one psalm. Keep on going. This is my comfort in my affliction, for your word has given me life. My comfort is in my suffering is this. Your promise preserves my life. This is my consolation in my affliction, for your word has sustained me. Zot nechamati be'onyi, ki imratcha yatani. So, zot is the feminine this. Not sure it's very clear what the zot is referring to. I guess the previous verse. Nechamti. So, I recently did a little study on the root nacham, right, to comfort. If you're interested, you might go back. I did it with Genesis 40. So my comfort be'onyi, right? So yeah, in my affliction or in my poverty, misery, yeah, affliction, poverty, misery. Um, the same root is used for like anit, which is a fast. Um, yeah, and ani is a poor person. Um, imratcha. So I guess the zot might be going off imra, right? Imra is we've had it in this verse before. It's I mean in this in the psalm. Yeah, so showed up in 119.11 and 38 and 41. And it shows up actually, looks like a lot of times, specifically in Psalm 114, 119. And that seems to be just because it would be so repetitive if everything was davar. So it's switching different ways of saying say in Hebrew. That's my understanding. Because I mean, this whole verse is, I mean, this whole psalm is a tribute to God's word, right? Hiatani, right, comes from chaya, right, to live. So Hiatani has enlivened me, right? Hiyut, and sometimes people refer to joy or as chiyut, because this is also, I mean, chiyut is in the PL, right? Just like we had in the previous one, where waiting in the intensive became hope. So this is life in the intensive. A stronger way of referring to it. The proud have me in great derision, yet I do not turn aside from your law. NIV, the arrogant mock me unmercifully, but I do not turn from your law. Willful sinners derided me greatly. I did not turn away from your Torah. Zedim helitzuni ad me'od mitoratecha lo natati. Okay, so zedim, this distinction between willful sin and unintentional sin, right? Zadon and shkaga is a common one. So these people are zedim, and these are people who do things deliberately, sin deliberately. Helitzuni, so caused me to. Eletz is a mocker, right? So they caused me to be mocked, right? Litsuni caused me to be an object of mock. Ad me'od, very much. This is another phrase that shows up a bunch of times in this psalm that isn't that common. But ad me'od, very much. And me'od usually does not have a vav. Elitsuni, kind of expected it to be with a shuruk instead of a kubutz, but it is what it is. Mi Toratecha, Torah, however, is written bemilui, as it almost always. From your law, right, from your Torah, lo natati, I have not turned, right, and can also mean, so yeah, it's waver. Natiat ohel is how I usually remember this verb, is to, as in pitch a tent, spread out a tent. And there's the verse note or kisalma, right? God spreads out light, wears light, a cloak. Okay, verse 50. I remembered your judgments of old, O Lord, and have comforted me. I remember, Lord, your ancient laws, and I find comfort in them. I remembered your judgments of old, O Lord, and I was consoled. That you bring suffering and sufferings, repent of your anger and forgive. Therefore, I am consoled. Huh. Let's see what the Hebrew is. Zacharti mishpatecha me'olam havaya ve'et neham. Interesting. Huh. So Zacharti, I remember, right? Mishpatecha, your judgments, me'olam, from old, from eternity. They're also doing old, me'olam. Usually I translate olam as eternity, right? Mishpatecha me'olam havaya. Tetragrammaton. Ve'et necham, again, might want to look back at what I talked about with necham, right? And here it's in the in the in the reflexive hitpa'el, right? And I am comforted, or I was comforted. Et necham can also have a sort of meaning of change your mind. I could see translating this as repent. And I think that might be what Rashi's getting at. Yeah. Interesting. Again, I mean, it's not that the words are difficult, it's translating them. Um, yeah, verse 53. Indignation has taken hold of me because of the wicked who forsake your law. Indignation grips me because of the wicked who have forsaken your law. Quaking gripped me because of the wicked who abandoned your Torah. Zal'afa achazatni mereshayim ozvei Toratecha. Huh. Interesting. Hazatni. So Zal'afa, first of all, it's obviously a loan word into the Hebrew because it has 4 strong roots, and Hebrew does not have 4 strong roots. That's just not a native Hebrew. Zalafaf. Zaaf. No, thank you. To be vexed or enraged. Huh. Zalafa. I guess the idea is that the lamed in there is some sort of um some sort of don't know what to say, interjection. But the word itself, zalafa, shows up only 3 times. Once in Psalm 11, once here, and once in Lamentations 5:10. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I would say it's quite likely some sort of loan word into the Hebrew that just was used enough to make it into the Bible, and probably sounded enough like Za'af, which, like they say, to be vexed or enraged, to become a sort of concept. So achazatni has taken hold of me. Achaz, right, is well, so if like me you believe that Hebrew also has two letter roots, right? Chet and Zayin. So chazak means to grab, and achuz and achuzah is a possession, you know, and it does show up. I mean, sure it shows up 68 times in the Bible. So, has grabbed me, in hold of me. Yeah, I mean, achazatani, achazatni, atni. Because Zalafa is female, and yeah, achazatni. Yeah, mirashayim ozvei toratecha. From the Rashayim, evildoers, the wicked, ozvei toratecha. So la'azov, right? Ayin zayin bet means to leave something, to abandon something. I don't like the translation forsake, just because it in English it means to forget, and I usually would translate azav as abandon. So ozvei toratecha, it's in the participle because somebody who does, right, then becomes a noun. So ozvei toratecha, those who abandon your Torah. Yeah. So Zalafa has captured me, taken hold of me from, or probably because of, the wicked. I'm kind of surprised at this prepositional mem, right? Because it's not usually used as be, although I suppose it. Verse 54, your statutes have been my songs in the house of my pilgrimage. Your decrees are the theme of my song wherever I lodge. Your statutes were to me as songs in the house of my sojournings. Okay. Zemirot hayu li chukecha bebeit megurai. Interesting. Okay, so there are several ways of talking about songs in Hebrew. This is zamer, right? Zayin mem resh. And zamer can also mean to glean. But what most people will remember is the word mizmor, which is, a lot of times it's Mizmor LaDavid, right? A song of David in the Tehillim. So Zemirot Hayuli, so Hukecha. So, like I've said before, there are three categories of commandments in Hebrew, and Chok, which is usually translated as statutes, are those things which we do not completely comprehend. So your statutes, your incomprehensible law. were songs for me. The Beit Megurai. So there is no article in the Hebrew, but in a house of Megurai, and Megurai actually, it's used several times. The root is garar, which means no, gur, sorry, gimel vav resh, which means to, usually gets translated as sojourn. It can refer to conversion. It means not being a permanent someone who lives there permanently. Yeah, Megurai is 11 different times. So places where in the houses where I live temporarily. Five. I remember your name in the night, O Lord, and I keep your law. In the night, Lord, I remember your name, that I may keep your law. At night I remembered your name, O Lord, and I kept your Torah. So Rashi explains, night is a time of distress. Zacharti balayla shimcha havaya ve'eshmera toratecha. So Zacharti, I remembered, right? This is a perfect completed action. Balayla, in the night, right? At time of distress, I guess is the more figurative way of translating. But in the night, balayla, shimcha, your name, havaya, and that is the tetragrammaton. Ve'eshmera toratecha, and I shall. So this is the, well, it is the imperfect. It is the imperfect, and whether or not it gets flipped is yeah, so Chabad is doing it in the past tense, and the Christian translations are doing it in the present tense. Again, I think this is a theological reading. I kept makes more. But theologically, I think the Christian reading would be that Israel did not keep. 56. This has become mine because I kept your precepts. This has been my practice. I obey your precepts. This came to me because I kept your precepts. Zot haita li hi pikudecha natzarti. So again, this language of pikudim, which we've had several times now, and they're always translating as precepts. And I prefer assignments. But and this word natsar, or to keep, is used a lot in Psalm 119. Again, I think for the same reason that the word imra keeps on getting used, because otherwise it would be saying shamor, shamor, shamor every time. It's finding synonyms. Zot haitali, what this had, was for me. This existed for me. What the word is, zot. Sure. the previous one. Yeah, I'm not sure what Zot is referring to. This. Let's see what Rashi says. This came to me. A crown that fits me was given to me as a testimony, and to my children who are fit to reign as a reward for having kept your precepts. So did the sages of Israel explain it. I found this. Sure what Rashi's saying in its tell. Let me. I want to. Evan Ezra says the good thing of my generations. Radak. הידיעה וההשגחה הייתה לי מתנה מאיתך בעבור כי פקודיך נצרתי. כמו שאמרו בר מצווה מצווה. So keeping, what he's saying is keeping the Torah is what is the Zot. So keeping the Torah has kept me, right? This has kept me. This keeping the Torah has kept me as I kept your Torah, right? It's saying, because like it says, I believe in the Talmud, something we say commonly, bar mitzvah mitzvah. The reward of a mitzvah is the ability to do mitzvot. I guess that's what Rashi. That I tali me Amar Bar Shepegudecha Party Zot Ali Ut my eduta. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi Shahaya Menicha B'Makom Tefillin. So apparently this is discussed in the Talmud Avodah Zarah 44a. Is, yeah, well, I mean, it's specifically talking about tefillin, but schar mitzvah mitzvah, right? So the understanding is this keeping of the Torah has been what has kept me. I don't know how you can translate that into the English, but yes, it does make in the Hebrew. So I don't know what to say. Okay, 57. We're on the Chetz now. You are my portion, O Lord. I have said that I would keep your words. You are my portion, Lord. I have promised to obey your words. The Lord is my portion, I said, to keep your words. That's a very different way of translating it. Chelki havaya amarti lishmor devarecha. Yeah. Yeah, they're the Christian translation kind of puts a comma between chelki and after havaya, right? My portion is the Lord. Chelek is a piece. So chelki havaya. So my chelek, right? My portion is the Lord, right? The there's no present tense of the verb to be. Amarti lishmor devarecha, and that makes more sense to that I said the Lord is my portion. Lishmor devarecha, that I would keep your words. But the Christian translations are putting the comma before amarti. Amarti lishmor devarecha. I said that I would keep your words. Yeah, and I'm guessing, I know from the mark above the mem that there's a stress there in the cantillations. But obviously the cantillations are not part of the ancient text. They are part of the tradition. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. 58. I entreated your favor with my whole heart. Be merciful to me according to your word. I have sought your face with all my heart. Be gracious to me according to your promise. I entreated you with all my heart. Favor me according to your word. Chiliti panecha bechol lev choneni keimratecha. Chiliti. La. Sick. Chiliti. Oof. Yes. Ole doesn't mean sick. Chiliti panecha. Interesting. Rashi, Hebrew chaliti, from the expression of Lamentations 3:24, the Lord is my portion, says my soul, therefore I will hope to him. I don't know why I'm doing this the hard way instead of the way. Three. Chalki havaya amra nafshi al ken ochil lo. Interesting. So, yeah, it makes sense because the previous sentence also, so it is parallel here, right? So previous sentence was Al ki havaya amra nafshi al ken ochil lo, I will hope iliti anecha. So I became maybe desired, treated. Sure, I mean used as to entreat, to strain oneself in Jeremiah 12. Mollify, appease, entreat the favor of. Literally make the face, followed by min. Make the face of anyone. And it doesn't give where it does that. It's not telling us where that. First Samuel 13:12. Upnei havaya lo chiliti. Interesting. So used with the word pene, like it is here. Job 11:19. V'ravat Steve ein machrid chilu panecha rabim. So apparently it's used as a phrase with panecha, with face. This, I mean, apparently it's used a bunch of times in the Bible. I never recognized it. 1, 2, 3. Times. A lot. And again, chaluna pnei el. So it's used with panim, and it apparently means to ole panim, to be sick for the face of, to desire, I guess. Oops. Elite panecha. Eliti panecha bechol lev. Poneni ke'emratech. So panecha literally means your face. They're saying your favor. I would almost want to say towards you. So, I mean, obviously this is some sort of phrase that I am, for some reason, unaware of. I'm guessing it's not used very much in modern Hebrew. And I can't think of where it's used in Rabbinic Hebrew. So, but here it is. Deliti panecha bechol lev. So with bechol lev, with all my heart, my is implied there, right? I desired you very much. I would probably translate this very figuratively. honeni ke'imratecha. So hanan, right, is to be merciful, to be kind, to answer. Ke'imratecha. Again, the word imratecha is being because just not to repeat the same word over and over. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to look up the other places where so Hila Anim is a phrase in Hebrew that I was not aware. Okay, where were we? 15. Okay. I thought about my ways and turned my feet to your testimony. I have considered my ways and have turned my steps to your statutes. I considered my ways and I returned my feet to your testimony. Hishavti derachai va'ashiva raglai el edotecha. Okay, so hishavti, chet shin bet is to esteem, to consider, to think, right? God says, my thoughts are not like your thoughts. He uses the word machshaba. So hishavti, hashuv can also mean important. I considered hishavti darachai, my ways. Yeah. Ashiva raglai. So ashiva is the causative of lashuv, to return, right? And there is an aspect of teshuvah, repentance there. The ashiva raglai, and I will, and I did. I mean, it's the vav is flipping it. So I returned, as Chabad puts it, right? My feet. El, preposition with the aleph. Edotecha, your testimony. Interesting. Not sure why it's using testimony. Guess your ways of guiding me. And edot is written becharon vav. Which, I mean, this is just me thinking, but without the vocalization, you could almost say that the ashiva raglai el adatecha, I will return my feet towards your people, and edah. Group of people. Verse 60. I made haste and did not delay to keep your commandment. I will hasten and not delay to obey your command. I hastened and did not delay to keep your commandments. Chashti, velo hitmamati lishmor mitzvatecha. Interesting. So, chashti. Ush is, yeah. So, be'ito achishena, right? In its time, I will hasten it. It's probably the most famous. Chashti, I made haste. Velo hitmamati. So, this is one of those rare stems, hitpalpel, and excuse me, hitmamea means to take your time, to delay. If you're going to recognize it from anything, it would be from the 13 principles of faith, where we say, Afal pi sheyitmamea, and even though it will take its time, bechol yom achakelo, every day I will await the coming of the Messiah. Right? So hitmamati, I did not take my time, carry. Lishmor mitzvot, I did not take my time to, and it's very clear that this is in the past tense. To keep your mitzvot. Verse 61. The cords of the wicked have bound me, but I have not forgotten your law. Though the wicked bind me with ropes, I will not forget your law. Bands of wicked men robbed me. I did not forget your Torah. We'll probably come back and read Rashi. Chevlei Reshayim Ivduni. That's with a Vav. Ein Vav Daled. Not a word I'm familiar with. Toratecha lo shachachti. I did not forget your Torah. So Chevel is a band or cord, right? And Chevel Reshayim, Chevlei Reshayim. So it could be groups of evildoers or ropes that belong to evildoers. It's either one. Ivduni. So would admonish to return, go about, do again. I don't see a vav anywhere here. Huad, the vav is before the ayin. Not seeing a vav here. Yeah, I mean, they have all of the places, but I'm not sure I agree that there is an ayin vav daled there. See what Rashi said. Bands of wicked men, Udani, bands of wicked men plundered me, like in Genesis 49:27. In the morning he will eat. Binyamin Zev Yitraf Baboker Yochal Ad Ula'arev Yechalek Shalal. I don't know how I feel about that. Again, no vav there. In this manner, Menachem associated it. It may also be interpreted as an expression of od, more, increasing, or outnumbered me. This I prefer. Because there's a vav in there. And it seems to me that there needs to be a vav if you're saying that related to something else. Yeah. And even though od, yeah, I mean, it seems to me that that makes more. So, Chevlei Reshayim Ivduni. Outnumbered me. I prefer outnumbered. What can I say? And Paratecha lo shachachti. I have so shachach Now that's an actual word that means to forget, to forsake, as opposed to azov, right? And it's a very common one. Shachach, shkoach, shin chaf het. Okay, next verse. 62. At midnight I will rise to give thanks to you because of your righteous judgment. At midnight I rise to give you thanks for your righteous laws. At midnight I rise to give thanks to you for your just judgment. Hebrew. Chatzot alayla akum lahodot lach al mishpatei tzidkecha. Interesting. So chatzot, chetzi means half, right? And chatzot laila is midnight. In modern Hebrew as well. So yeah, chatzot laila, the middle of the night. Akum, I will rise. Lakum, we see it mostly in the Hefil, lahakim, right? To establish. Also kum, right? To get up, to rise. Lehodot lach. Interestingly, lehodot is written with two vavs here, which is a little bit, I think a little bit uncommon, but lehodot is actually the root of the word Yehuda, right? The word Judea or Jew, which means it has three meanings. It means to admit, to thank, and brain. Well, to cast, confess, to give thanks, and for some reason my brain isn't being the third one. Praise. That was it. So to confess, to thank, and to praise, right? As in hodu, right? Hodu Lashem Kitov. And yes, it does come from a background of cast. I guess it is related to the word yad. Lach here. So the cantillations will sometimes change a lacha to a lach. Whether or not you want to say that this is particularly speaking about a feminine aspect of God or not. Obviously, Tikkun Chatzot is considered a very feminine thing. It's a prayer service not many people partake in. Al mishpatei tzidkecha. Al is the preposition ayin, mishpatei, right, judgments, tzidkecha, of your righteousness, tzadik daled kuf, your correct or righteous judgment. Yeah. Verse 63. I am a companion of all who fear you, and of those who keep your precepts. I am a friend to all who fear you, to all who follow your precepts. I am a companion to all who fear you and to those who keep your precepts. Haver ani lechol asher yerehucha u leshomrei pikudecha. So chaver in modern Hebrew definitely is how we say friend. Um, a, a chibur is a compilation because lechaber means to join together. That's what the root is. Het bet resh. Um, yeah, I'm not sure it shows up many times in the Bible, but it is a very common word in modern Hebrew. 12 times in the Bible. It shows up, I mean, in modern Hebrew. Oh, also chavar. Yeah, I mean, another 28 times as a verb. Chavar. So to join, to tie. Tie a magic knot or spell to charm. That I cannot think of what they mean. Where they got that from. There. Only the accusative of the cognate meaning chaver shem. I have no idea what they're talking about because the word rare doesn't show up first. V'chover chavar v'shoel ov. Okay, so yeah, in Deuteronomy 18:11, it is, yeah, it seems to be talking about spell. Chover chavar. Interesting. I guess it's a binding. Okay. Chaver ani. So I am a friend, a companion. Lechol asher yiraucha. To all who are in awe of you, I guess. I usually, yira, I usually translate as awe because it can be both awesome and awful. Yeah, yiraucha. Those who are in awe of you. Leshomrei pikudecha, and to those who keep, right? And pikudecha can is what keeps on being translated as precepts, and I keep on saying assignment. Yeah. The earth, O Lord, is full of your mercy. Teach me your statutes. The earth is filled with your love, Lord. Teach me your decrees. O Lord, the earth is full of your kindness. Teach me your statutes. Chastecha havaya mala haaretz hukecha lamdeni. So chesed, usually translated as loving kindness. Mercy, okay, I guess. Your kindness, I would probably translate it. Havaya is obviously tetragrammaton. Mal'ah haaretz has filled the land. Yeah, I mean, filled the land. Maleh is a very common word. Ukecha, right? And that there are the three types of commandments. The chukim, which usually get translated as statutes, which are things we don't necessarily understand. Mishpatim, which are translated as judgments, which are things which can be understood. And edot or testimonies, sometimes just called plain mitzvot, are those things which set Israel apart from the nation as particular witnesses, as signs that we are a nation of. Ukecha lamdeni, which means lamed, right? Yeah, and lamdeni is obviously. Pretty simple sentence. Okay, now we're on the Tets 65. You have dealt with well with your servant, O Lord, according to your word. Do good to your servant according to your word, Lord. You have done good with your servant, O Lord, according to your word. Tov asita im avdecha Hashem idvarecha. So this is definitely in the past tense. Tov asita, you have done, right? La'asot, to do or to make, right? You have done good things, tov, right? Im avdecha, with your servant or slave, havaya, kidvarecha. So tetragrammaton, kidvarecha, like your word, like you said. A simple sentence. 66. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I believe your commandments. Teach me knowledge and good judgment, for I trust your commandments. The best of reason and knowledge, teach me, for I believe in your commandments. Tov tam v'da'at lamdeni ki b'mitzvotecha hemanti. Interesting. This is, I'm pretty sure I've heard this verse a lot. So Tov Tam, it's using the same letter for because of alliteration, I would say, but Ta'am literally means taste, but Ta'am also means reason. So flavor or essence, thinking, right? Tov ta'am v'da'at lamdeni, and da'at is intimate knowledge. That's so good judgment and knowledge. Lamdeni, teach me. Ki b'mitzvotecha hemanti, because in your commandments I have believed. I mean, the root is emunah, right? Amen. Word amen. Hemanti. It's in the hefil, in the causative. I believed in your mitzvot is how I would have translated. I guess you can say trust. Yeah. Yeah. Have faith, right? Hemanti. 67. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I keep your word. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I obey your word. Before I recited, I erred, but now I keep your word. Interesting. Let's see what this. Terem ene ani shogeg va'ata imratcha shamarti. Interesting. Huh. See what Rashi said. Before I recited to you about your commandments, before I uttered them. So he is translating ene, right? From la'anot, ayin nun he, which means to answer. Now that I've recited them, I kept your. An expression of study and citing in the study hall, like verse 170. My tongue will utter ta'an. Okay, your word. Similarly, Malachi 2:12. For the man who commits it, the Lord shall cut off one of acuity and or erudition, the oneh, from the tents of Jacob, an ingenious one among the sages, and one who can answer among the students. Yeah, so he's saying that it's related to la'anot, and they're saying it's from ana, which, like we said before, bow down, afflicted. I mean, it's related. It could be related to on, right? Affliction. I can see an argument either way. Both of them are saying that the root is ein nun hey, and that the aleph is part of an imperfect conjugation. I was wondering if, I don't believe there is a root aleph on aleph ein. Yeah, so this didn't find any, and I could believe root like that. So terem means before, right? Terem. And ani shogeg. So before and I was afflicted. I think I'm tending towards Rashi to study as a form of answering, right? Ani shogeg, because the word shogeg, like we said before, we had zadon and shogeg, right? Zadon is to intentionally sin. Shogeg is to sin unintentionally. So I understand what Rashi means there. But ata, so et means time, ata means right now. Va'ata imratecha shamarti. And now your words I have keep. Yeah, I would probably translate this before I study, I sin inadvertently, but now, I mean, it is a little bit strange that N is in the imperfect, right, incomplete action, but not completely that strange. Va'ata imratecha. Now I keep. Okay, 60. You are good and do good. Teach me your statute. You are good and do good. What you do is good. Teach me your statutes. You are good and you do good. Teach me your statutes. Tov ata umetiv lamdeni chukecha. Tov umetiv is actually one of the blessings we say is God is good and causes good. Tov obviously means good. Metiv is in the hefil, it's in the causative of it. So he causes good. And the pronoun ata is being used kind of as a stand-in for the verb to be in the present. Lamdeni chukecha, teach me your statutes. We've had several. 9. The proud have forged, smeared me with a lie against me, but I will keep your precepts with my whole heart. So the arrogant have smeared me with lies. I keep your precepts with all my heart. Willful sinners have heaped false accusations upon me, but I keep your precepts wholeheartedly. So we'll probably get back to Rashi. Haflu alai sheker zedim ani bechol lev etzor pikudecha. Okay? So tafel means extra. Smear, plaster over, stick glue. Okay, tofle sheker, smearing lies in Job 13. Wondering if the word tafel is modern. It might even be Aramaic. That might, I might be mistaking it for them Aramaic. Shows up 3 times in the Bible. See what Rashi has. Hebrew taflu, they joined upon me, and similarly, Job 14:17. Atum bitzror pish'ei vetitpol al avoni. Catch. I'm guessing that I was making a mistake with the Aramaic because tafel is the modern Hebrew probably comes from. So taflu alai sheker. They Shalom, how you doing? Sure. Okay. Taflu alai sheker. Sheker is the opposite of emet, so truth. A lie. Yeah. Zaydim. So again, like we said before, Zadon is the opposite of shogeg, right? Unintentional. Zaydim is to do intentionally sin. Ani bechol lev etzor pikudecha. Tzor means to fashion. There. No, so again, they're saying it's from Natsar. And yes, so there is a dagesh in that tzaddik there, like we've discussed before, pikudecha. Honestly, I mean, there's just so much repetition. Very long psalm, but the same words are used a lot. Their heart is insensible, as fat as grease, but I delight in your law. Their hearts are callous and unfeeling, but I delight in you. Thick like fat is their heart, but I engage in your Torah. Afash tachelev libam, ani toratecha sha'ashuati. Okay, so afash is not a word I'm with. To be gross, and it is used just this once. Aramaic tesh, to be stupid. Gross, to be fat. Apparently to be thick. Not sure what to tell you. Rashi doesn't actually say anything. The Evan Ezra says it's the only one time it's used. Tafash v'shirahem libam kalev mirov shemu. So the Malbim is saying that, but he's not saying why. Mitzudat David nasu shemen kechelev. Aval anitor. So it doesn't explain why. Mitzudat Tzion inyan shuman ki hashemen lev ha'am. So he's saying, like in Isaiah 6:10, it says that the people's hearts are thick, or shemen are fatty. So this is and the Targum into the Aramaic uses the word tafash. So apparently this is a Aramaicism, yes. Mizeh karu l'chsil tafash. Hashem. Not sure what more to tell you. Yeah. So, tafash, whatever that means. Ka chelev, and there is an article there, but so chelev can be grease, can be fat, can be chalav actually means milk, right? And the verb is actually to milk something. But tafash ka chelev, like fat, right? Right. Fat like fat. Their heart, libam. Heart is, there's no present tense of the ani toratecha sha'ashati. So sha'ashuim, this is another verb in the pilpel, right, which is a uncommon stem. And sha'ashuim, like we said, are delights, right? Mishtasha'a, to delight in. Ni toratecha sha'ashati. My delights are your Torah. Yeah. Okay, 71. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I may learn your statutes. It was good for me to be afflicted, so that I might learn your decree. It is good for me that I was afflicted, in order that I learn your statutes. Tov li ki uniti, lama'an elmad chukecha. So tovli, it's good for me. Ki usually means because, but here it's pretty clearly that. Uniti, right? And this is the pual. So pual is the stem pual is the passive of the intensive. So I was uniti. So again, from ani, right, to be poor, impoverished, ana, bowed. Lama'an, so that, lama'an, al elmad chukecha, I will learn, I'm perfect, your statutes. Yeah, pretty clear. 72. The law of your mouth is better to me than thousands of coins of gold and silver. The law from your mouth is more precious to me than thousands of pieces of silver and gold. The instruction of your mouth is better for me than thousands of gold and silver. Tov li Torat picha me'alfei zahav v'chasef. Tov li, again, like the previous verse, right? Is better for me, good for me. Torat picha. So this is Torah in a construct with peh, right? With mouth. So your mouth. The law of your mouth. Me'alfei zahav v'chesef. So elef means thousands, right? Thousand. Alfei is thousands, right? And it's in construct with zahav and kesef. So zahav is gold, kesef is silver. In modern Hebrew, it also means money. Yeah, pretty clear stuff. Okay. 73, we're on Yod. Your hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn your commandments. Your hands made me and formed me. Give me understanding to learn your commandments. So now we're on Yod, right? So it's Yadecha. Your hands made me and fashioned me. Enable me to understand, and I shall learn your commandments. Yadecha asuni veyichonanuni hevineni ve'elmeda mitzvotecha. Interesting. So obviously this has a lot of alliteration in the Hebrew that I don't know how you would translate. Yadecha asuni veyichonuni ve'yichananu havineni ve'elmeda mitzvotecha. Interesting. Okay. So yadecha, your hands in the plural. Asuni, right? They made me. Perfect. Completed action. Ve'yichononuni. So konen means to establish, to kivun also means to turn. They're saying to be firm. When I translated Bridges of Meaning to Hebrew, I translated it as Gishrei Hitkavnut. Fashioned me, established me, set me up, I guess. Not sure how you would translate it. I think it's pretty obvious that it's there mostly for the poetic alliteration. Havineni, cause me to understand, right? Mevin, to understand. This is bina, the understanding one thing from another, giving it length, building, right? Boneh. Havineni, so give me make me understand. The elmeda mitzvotecha, I will learn your mitzvot. And that hey at the end is the cohortative hey. So look here, the suffix verb cohortative. The cohortative form looks very similar to the imperfect, but functions in a sentence more like an imperative. Cohortative verbs appear only in first person forms. Similarly, imperatives only in second and if you look, you will see have that hey at the end. How we end up with a cohortative. In English, a cohortative is often translated with a helping verb such as let or will. Let us do this. Okay. Mitzvotecha, or that I may learn. That's how they're translating aspect of that. Mitzvotecha, or commandments. Verse 74. Those who fear you will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in your word. May those who fear you rejoice when they see me, for I have put my hope in your words. Those who fear you will see me and rejoice, for I hoped for your word. Yirecha yiruni v'yismachu ki lidvarecha yichalti. So, Yirecha yiruni, right? So obviously in the Hebrew, this is very alliterative. Those who fear you, right? Yirecha, those are who are in awe of you, shall see me. Honestly, I mean, this is so poetic that it's. Yes, that's what those words mean, but I'm not sure you can really translate it that way. V'yismachu, and they will be glad, sameach, right? Sin mem, very common. Ki lidvarecha, as for to your words, yichalti, and we talked about yichal previously. This PL form of. Okay, verse 75. I know, O Lord, that your judgments are right or righteous, and that in faithfulness you have afflicted me. I know, Lord, that your laws are righteous, and that in faithfulness you have afflicted me. I know, O Lord, that your judgments are just, and in faith you afflicted me. Yedati havaya ki tzedek mishpatecha ve'emuna initani. Interesting. So yadati, I have known, right? It's perfect. I do know. Havaya ki tzedek mishpatecha, that your judgments are correct, right? Tzedek, in addition to righteous, you in modern Hebrew you actually say atat tzedek, you're right. Ve'emuna initani, and okay, in faithfulness, initani, you have afflicted me. Not sure how you translate, right? Because emet ve'emuna, and in faith you. It's not very clear to me if this emunah is referring to God's faithfulness or my faith that you have afflicted. The emunah initani. I'm not sure which emunah. Is it talking about God's faithfulness or as in the speaker? I just don't know. Okay, verse 76. Let, I pray, your merciful kindness be my comfort, according to your word to your servant. May your unfailing love be my comfort, according to your promise to. May your kindness be upon me now to comfort me, as your word to your servant. Yehina chastecha lenahameni, imratecha laavdecha. Interesting. So Yehi, let it be, right? Let it be. Pretty clear. Right? na. So na is an interjection, and I usually translate it as please. It can also mean now. I pray. I usually translate it as please, and it works. I often see it translated as now. Chastecha, your loving kindness. Chesed. Le nahameni, as my comfort. Right? So Yehina chastecha, let your loving kindness be my nacham. Right? And like I said, we did a whole thing on Genesis 40 on Nachem. Ke'imratecha la'avdecha, like you said to your servant or slave. The words are clear. The translation. Okay, 77. Let your tender mercies come to me that I may live, for your law is my delight. Let your compassion come to me that I may live, for your law is my delight. May your mercy come upon me so that I shall live, for your law is my occupation. Yevauni rachamecha ve'echyeh, ki toratecha sha'ashu'ai. I'm surprised that that's sha'ashu'im, that they're translating as occupation. I'm not sure why they did that. We've been translating it as delight before, so I would do the same. Now, Yevauni, right? Bring, lavo is to come, right? Yevauni rachamecha. So come upon me, yes. Yevauni, come to. Rachamecha. So rechem is actually can refer to a womb, but rachem is compassion. Compassion, mercy. Rachamecha, your mercy. Ve'echyeh, and I will live. Yeah, I will live. I guess it can mean more of a echyeh, as in I will I will be enlivened. Because your law, your Torah, is my delight, is how I would translate it. I'm not sure why Chabad did occupation. 78. Let the proud be ashamed, for they treated me wrongfully with falsehood, but I will meditate on your precept. May the arrogant be put to shame for wronging me without cause, but I will meditate on your precepts. May the willful sinners be shamed, for they condemned me falsely. I shall converse about your precepts. Yavoshu zedim ki sheker ivtuni ani asiach bepikudecha. Okay. Yavoshu will be bush is to be ashamed, right? Boshet pani. So Yavoshu, and it's written the Chisaron Vav, which yeah. That Yud is part of the conjugation, not Yavesh as dry. And I think that's pretty clear, despite not having. Zaydim, again, like we said, are intentional sinners as opposed to shogeg. This is the theme. We've been having sheker ivuni, because so falsehood, sheker is avet, to be bent or broken. Shows up 11 times. Bent or cheat. Hurt. Oh, Yavet Mishpat. Yavet Sedek. Yeah. Yavet Mishpat. Yeah, okay. So that La'avet Meoznei, the balances. Yeah. So treat wrongfully, I guess. Yeah, to Sheker Ivtuni. I would almost say judged me. Is that how? Condemned me? That's how Chabad trans. Um, wronging me without cause. Treated wrongfully with falsehood. I like condemn better because I think ivut mishpat is actually kind of a free Hebrew. Subvert justice. Ivtuni. Ani asiach bepikudecha. I usually translate lasiach as chatter. We've seen it several times as meditate. It can mean to talk, but it's usually meant in a sense of not necessarily idle talk, but certainly not important talk. Be pekudecha, and Kudim we've been translating as precepts all through. Okay, 79. Let those who fear you turn to me, those who know your testimony. May those who fear you turn to me, those who understand your statutes. May those who fear you and those who know your testimonies return to Yashuvu li yirecha v'yod'ei edotecha. Okay, so let's just explain what's going on here with the weird formatting. There is a kativ and a kri, how things are written and how they are read, and not always do they match up, although this is kind of strange. Kativ v'yod a. So there's a vav there. Yeah, so instead of v'yadu, yod a is how it's read. So this happens, I guess, with vav and yod more commonly than most other things, but it is written with a vav, and of course the Masoretic tradition is we never change the spelling, even though people may read it traditionally in a different way, which is how we read, and that's what's. I don't know why edotecha is things here. These parentheses actually should be here, up here. Oh, Bible Hub has problems with kativ and that's where they make this differentiation. You see that K as opposed to the Q, and kativ is with a chaf, whereas kri is with a kuf, right? And that's why they're using K for the kativ and Q for the kri. Okay, so Yashuvu will return, right? Li yirecha, those who are in awe of you, those who veyodei edotecha, and those who know your testimonies, edotecha. The kativ, if you were to read this, v'yadu edotecha, would be, and they shall know, as opposed to the people who do know. See what Rashi says. For the Sanhedrin separated from him when he became Emet Zorah because of the iniquity of Bathsheba. So Rashi is assuming that Davidic, even if she was divorced, whoever put yeah, I mean, without Rashi's explanation, I'm not sure exactly what it means. Will return to me those who are in awe of you. Okay, last verse. That we're doing to 80. Let my heart be blameless regarding your statutes, that I may not be ashamed. May I wholeheartedly follow your decrees, that I may not be put to. May my heart be perfect in your statutes, in order that I not be shamed. Yehi libi tamim bechukecha lema'an lo evosh. Okay, so Yehi, let it be. Libi, my heart. Like I've said before, if you spell lev with one bet, we say that that is more of a unified, single-minded heart, whereas a levav with two bets tends to refer to things that are that conflicted heart, right? Both with your evil inclination and your good inclination. So it makes sense that it would be libi tamim as opposed to levavi tamim. My heart. So tamim, they're saying blameless. Tam, you may recognize from the Haggadah Passover. Haggadah, we say Tam Mahu Omer. What does the simple son say? There's also the biblical verse Yaakov Ishtam, right? Yoshev Ohalim. Jacob is a innocent, almost, I mean, I don't want to say naive. Can also mean full, right? Complete. So I would probably translate this. Let my heart be complete, blameless, simple, pure, yes, even. Bechukecha, in your statutes, lama'an lo evosh, so that I may not be ashamed. And evosh, bemiluy. Okay, I think that's it. I am going to stick around for at least 10 more minutes. Anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to put that. Let us finish off with Zephaniah 3:9. Ki az epoch el amim safa berah likro chulam b'shem havaya le'ovdo Shechem. For then I will restore to the peoples a pure language, so that they may all call in the name of God with one. And I'm probably going to do a little introduction into why Jews don't actually say the name of God, because that I found that to be a bit of a topic of Christians. So I'm probably going to talk. Yeah, hello, Doshchem. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to join us on the Discord. I should probably one of these days put a link to the Discord somewhere people can get. There we go. It's chat. And one of these days, if I actually learn how to do things, I might actually. I saw Pastor Tanner has really nice bots on his Twitch, which do all kinds. I'm not. Maybe one day. I'll figure that out. Yep. Let me check the Discord.